is LaMarr Benton, and I am going to show you some things that I've been doing for quite a while. I started off as a little child in my grandmother's house, and I used to scribble on her walls, and she would never tell me no. She just said, listen, just hold up a while, I'm going to get you a giant chalkboard. And so she allowed me to start drawing on the chalkboard instead of the walls. But she didn't tell me no, she didn't try to stop me. So she takes credit for a lot of what I'm doing now and throughout my life. But this is, I'm going to show you a few examples of what's known as gesture drawing. These drawings are live performances, and I was on location. And they're not really detailed, but they give you a feeling of what's going on. There's an energy involved there, and they're a lot of fun. They're done very fast, very fluidly. This is another example of that. This is a musician. And these were dancers. I think these depict what my daughter was doing. So I caught her live in a live performance that she was part of. So now I'm going to move on into my solarium, where I have a beautiful view of nature around me. And as an artist, it's always good to go back and practice some of the basic exercises that you started out with. In my case, form study and how to indicate that they're three-dimensional by adding some shading to them. So I've already started on a sphere, as you can see, and this is a cast shadow here that I'm putting on, which the light is coming from this direction, and then this right here is a shadow that's formed on the object. And then I'll just smudge this in a little bit, bring that up. This area down here is reflected light. So I'll do another one actually of a cylinder, which these are a lot of fun to do. I start off very loose. And the thing about drawing and art is that your practice never ends. It's something just like a piano player or anybody who really wants to be good at anything. Practice never ends. They practice their whole life. And so I'm just going to kind of fill this in pretty fast. This is another part of a cast shadow. And then where the light is again coming from the upper left-hand side, and what that effect is the lighting part of the object will be on this side, and then as the object turns away from the light, there's a point at which a shadow starts to occur. On the object. These are rough. I'm not really doing a detailed situation here, but this gives you an idea of what can be done to make things look three-dimensional. This part of the cylinder, it actually coincides with the area that is that I did on the sphere, same kind of area where this light object starts turning away from the light, and you get this kind of shadow. Same thing over here. These are not perfect, but gives you an idea. And the cast shadow is usually darker than the shadow that's on the object, that occurs on the object. But these are quick, fun things to do. It makes you aware, and you're able to see things a lot better. And the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. I'm using what's known as a kneaded eraser. The eraser, you can kneaded like dough, and it actually removes or folds the graphite in or whatever you're using, and it becomes clean again. And it's a very interesting kind of eraser. Um Another shape, common shape or common form, is a cube. Most of man-made objects, or products actually, will fall in a number of these categories: either a cube, a sphere, a cylinder, and also a cone. These are some of the basic forms that you'll see in life. And as you look around your house, I'm sure, or just out in public, you'll see things that have a basic geometrical form of one of these or a combination of these. And it's the same process as far as shadows. I'm going to make this so that it looks like it's made out of glass so you can see the inside too. And then I'm going to create the angles where the shadows will fall. So you have a shadow shape that's based on the blockage of the side of the cube that is not facing the light. So again, the light is coming from the upper left, and because this plane of the sphere is not directly in the light, it's going to be a little darker. So I can just use my finger to smudge that. And this side of the cube is going to be dark because the absence of light on this side. And then of course the cast shadow will be darker, and it's usually darkest close to the bottom of the object. So this is, as I said, these are rough. There's not precise or exact, but gives you some idea of how to make things look three-dimensional. And let's see. I'll just smear that a little bit and erase this. And I'll add a little tone around it. And get rid of that. This is actually a lot of fun. Just starting out, like anything, it has its difficulties, but the more you practice it, the better you'll get at it, and then you'll see what this practice helps you describe other objects that aren't perfect geometrical shapes. And as I said, there are objects that are a combination of these particular shapes, or forms, I should say. The cone will just do the same thing. Basically, the light is going to be coming from the upper left, and there's a cast shadow that's formed, so I can just kind of do a horizontal triangle, more or less. And then the triangle, because the light again is coming from the upper left, you're going to have a shadow starting as the object turns away, the surface of the object turns away from the light. And shadows, when you're putting on the value for a shadow, you can actually use the contour strokes to give a sense of roundness to the form. And again, the cast shadows, which are created because of a complete blockage of the light source, are darker. And depending on how close the light source is, the the edges of the shadow will become a little fuzzier depending on how far or how close the light source is. So, but usually it's darkest closer to the object, and then it kind of gets lighter, a little lighter, a little lighter, a little lighter. As I said, these are not exact, but it just gives you an idea of what you can do on a piece of paper that has two dimensions, length and height, and you can make objects appear to be solid. And you can do this with many things. Let's see here. Just adding a little more value, a little darker value there. You're basically going to have different features on objects. The light, since the light is hitting the top of this cylinder, this is going to be the lightest, and you're going to have quite a bit of light over here, and then as it rounds away from the light, it gets darker and darker and darker, and then usually on the edge, the opposite edge, the edge that's opposite of this, is what's known as reflected light, because the environment has light. So this has been a fun exercise, and as I said, this is something that I do periodically just to sharpen myself up. So hopefully you've learned something and enjoyed it, but I'm going to just leaf through some of the other kinds of art that I do. I'm actually making rockers for children. This was my daughter when she was really young. And there's a dolphin, there's a whale, there's a swan and turtle. A couple chairs. This was a fun thing to do, a cow. And of course giraffes, the elephant, dinosaurs, the panda. And my daughter again was the model for these items. Oh, I love horses, of course. These are carousel, my version of carousel horses. And these were my version of a Clydesdale. And now, some of the drawings that I have done in the past, I love drawing. I could draw all day if I didn't have to do other things, but in this world we do have to do other things. So this is just a few examples of some of the other areas that I have been involved in as far as art. And the thing about art, it just continues and continues. And the big thing and the big principle I'm trying to get across, that not only in art, if you want to be good at something, you have to practice daily. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I will be able to give other editions of this program.